Welcome all to EdifyPath, and we are very happy to have Mr. Sudhakar Rao with us. And Sudhakar Rao heads the brand head of ICFAI Group. I been discussing about especially about the branding sector today. We are here today talking about what is actually branding about. What does the branding do? What exactly you do branding for ICFAI Business School per se? Because I know that you have been talking about as a branding. I see helping so many entrepreneurs who actually been sending to you. You've been training them. One of the people who are actually come. I've seen startups right from my eyes who have come to you. You nurture them. Especially what do you do at what is branding? I have two questions to ask you. Question number one is, what is actually branding?
Right.
Number one. Number two, what exactly you do branding for an education institution?
Right.
Over to my...
Thank you, Bhanu. I think it's a very good question. Very few people have asked me what I do in ICFAI, and as part of branding, what do I do?
Okay.
Branding is a very, very responsible field of work, and branding is about maintaining and building your reputation of the work and energy that you have put in creating your brand. I'll tell you that ever since I have joined ICFAI, I have been taking care of the small activities like, we do advertisements, we do accreditations, we do ranking, we do PR, we do advocacy, we take care of the brand in various events for association, we sponsor certain activities, we make sure that the brand is available in the right form and right identity, right image, and the value is communicated through all this. But the question that you asked is very, very important. In India, a lot of people have not understood what is branding. See, branding is basically intangible. It is not something like, I give you a water bottle and you understand what is water bottle. But branding is something, for the want of clear explanation or for want of appreciation, people have not paid attention to branding. Many entrepreneurs in this country think that branding will happen on its own. But branding is science. Branding is a carefully crafted field of action, and it will happen only when you put certain things in place in the desired manner. Now, I'll tell you something. In ICFAI Group, we have started with identifying the fundamental tenets of the brand. This is the way any brand will have to work.
So just for the audience sake, I'm sorry for interrupting again here. What is ICFAI Group is all about? We know that there's a business school, IBS, that we keep hearing on the electric thick grey road that I go and see in the Shankarpalli road.
Right.
Other than engineering college, we know. But I understand there are a lot more in the ICFAI.
Oh, yes.
What is that actually about?
See, ICFAI Group consists of about 11 ICFAI universities,
Wow.
9 ICFAI business schools. We have 9 ICFAI tech schools, and we have 7 law schools. We have all in all about 20 campuses and a large number of students, 10,000 faculty members. We are present in 16 states.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this started about 3.5 decades with the aim of providing quality education at an affordable cost. And then we started with what is called CFA program. So if you look at ICFAI, between the two I's there is CFA, the Chartered Financial Analyst program, which was brought from US, and we added a lot of value and then delivered in India, and it was a runaway hit. This was in 80s.
Okay.
And in 90s, that is in 1995 exactly, when the liberalization started, we launched business schools. It's called ICFAI Business Schools.
Okay.
And then we launched tech schools, we launched universities, we launched law schools, and everything went on from there on to create what is now one of the largest homegrown education networks in the country. So we are
Hyderabad
is the headquarters.
The biggest one.
Hyderabad is the headquarters.
IBS, which is there,
Yes,
Shankarpalli is the
yes,
biggest.
yes.
Huge campus.
That's our flagship brand.
Absolutely.
It is
Great
called
campus.
ICFAI Business School, is IBS in short, is our flagship brand. We are the largest business school in the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we started with the fundamental tenets of creating for brand. You should have tenets.
Okay.
So for ICFAI, I'll give the example of ICFAI and then you will probably understand. innovation, technology, and entrepreneurial spirit. These are the three fundamental tenets of the brand. Innovation in program design, program curriculum, so on and so forth. Technology in terms of delivery. We use cutting edge technology to deliver the programs. And then entrepreneurial mindset or spirit is every student who graduates from ICFAI should bear this in mind that he is going to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So whether you work for yourself or you work for somebody else, you should have that entrepreneurial mindset, which means you have ownership and risk taking. These are very simple terms.
Okay.
Somebody who takes ownership of the job is given to him, and somebody who is willing to take risk is an entrepreneur, whether he works for himself or
Absolutely.
works for an outsider.
Agreed.
So these are the fundamental tenets of the brand. And then how do we communicate all these things to the prospective students, to the parents, to the teachers, to the influencers, to the bankers, to the regulatory bodies, to the government, to media?
Oh.
So these are the stakeholders. So your brand has to keep on communicating to your stakeholders in the manner that you want them to look at it.
Okay.
So
It's one of the communication tool that indirectly you're using it actually.
There are several communications tools we use,
Yes.
but then it has to be designed.
Okay.
And then, for example, there's a parent out there. How does a parent look at ICFAI as a brand? So you'll have to design here and then start beaming through communication, and then he will receive that communication and imagine what ICFAI is all about. So that is the entire exercise of branding.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So this is a question, very basic question probably to my EdifyPath audience.
Yes.
Is this design thinking that we talk about branding? Are these two different one, or is design thinking part of the branding?
See, design thinking is a very, very interesting field of work, as much as branding is, but it is different.
Okay.
Now, design thinking looks at the problems, it identifies the solutions from the users. By trial and error method, they do a prototype and then they scale up, which means a solution is brought from the users who are actually using the current product without actually having any burden on those people that they are actually working on it. So this is a very, very special field. I have studied a special course on design thinking from MIT Sloan School of Management.
Absolutely.
And then branding. Branding uses empathy. Empathy is you keep yourself in the shoes of the customer, and design thinking uses these principles of empathy in a greater way. So there is a commonality, but they are different parts of the world. But then these parts of the work will help solve greater problems.
That's really, thank you so much. So another question that actually prevailing to me that you have done a lot of branding strategies, all these things that I keep hearing from you. It's not easy way. Most of the people, in fact, today in India, we have more than 50,000 plus startups they have started here.
Yes.
The challenge is I have not seen anybody talking about a design thinking that per se that you said right now, or branding. Something is missing actually. And in fact, I have not seen any Indian companies. I'm sorry to say, because being an Indian, I feel so pathetic. Why is that our companies in India are not able to brand ourselves globally? That's question number one. So,
you want me to answer that question?
Please.
Because I'm quite excited to answer
more
that.
importantly, strategies. I wanted to understand what are those strategies. You build strategies. You're seeing that for getting branding, you need to build a strategy. For everything,
Correct.
there has to be strategy.
Absolutely.
So I want to understand what is that strategy that you generally used as your principle.
Yes.
To my audience too. Second is why we are lacking.
Yes.
And what is I have three questions right now to answer you.
I will answer all the
the
questions.
50,000 startups are not able to scale up so well. Then the accelerator program, when you go back, that's a challenge that we see actually.
Yes. See, couple of years back, I was in Stanford University as part of a delegation. So some of the people in the delegation, they have asked the Stanford University professors, see, your university is known for entrepreneurship, you do a lot of things very well. Can you give us a lesson or two how we can also make our campuses entrepreneurship oriented? They asked this question.
Okay.
I listened to the answer. The answer is given. Then we were breaking for lunch. So along with me, there were another 12, 15 guys.
Okay.
Now, my question to them is, branding or entrepreneurship or the way you behave has to be very, very real.
Okay.
Same entrepreneurs who were along with me, what are the practices that they are adopting in running their companies, in running their organizations and institutions? They recruit faculty members, they pay 1 lakh rupee salary, and they take 50,000 back in cash. Students are observing you, the faculty members are observing you. Do you think they will respect your brand? They will not respect your brand. They will quit the organization at an opportune time. They will badmouth you because of your practices. But if you had paid them only 50,000 and promise that 50,000 only and pay 50,000, there is no problem. This is called dissonance. You promise something and you deliver something else, and there's a different kind of a mechanism for you to collect your money back. Those are the traditions and practices of some entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Now, how can you build within your institution?
The interesting fact.
How can you build entrepreneurship on your campus if you are practicing in the wrong way? Your students are looking at you. Your teachers are looking at you, and you yourself is not a good entrepreneur. You come all the way to Stanford and ask that question. The question is internal to you. There's a greater responsibility of an entrepreneur to be a role model. You help the teacher to be a role model by motivating them, and then the students are looking at. So what is the lesson for us? The customers are always looking at you. You run your business very nice.
Okay.
You have your employees taken care of very well. They are the ambassadors of the brand. Now, when you do all these things, things will fall in place in a positive way for you. So, it is the mindset of the entrepreneurs in India which has to change, number one. Number two, there are lots of startups.
Question to ask you again, but I'm sorry for interrupting again. Is it that they need to allocate certain budget for this branding? You mean to say?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
I'll come to that. First is the mindset.
Okay.
As I said earlier, if you think that you can do anything but you expect the results in some other way, it will not happen. That dissonance is what I'm talking about.
Understood.
Now, if you are not a genuine quality product giver or a service giver, but you want in your advertisements to talk that this is a world-class quality, there's a credibility loss there. There's no trust there. The person who is writing the ad also will think, oh, you're telling stories again to fool the people. So there's no credibility within the system. There's no credibility in what you're saying. So build authenticity, build credibility. You are working on a good product. A decent product is good enough.
Okay.
Then all your branding strategies will work. Check that first. The other thing is, you don't have to be a role model. You don't have to be anything, but be true to yourself as an entrepreneur. Then slowly and steadily the brands are built. Then there are various techniques which I'll come to, but then this is the mindset which is extremely important. Now, startups which we have are also from our society. Why a large number of startups are romanticizing technology? They are romanticizing technology because they think that if you have good product and good technology, everything will work hunky-dory. There are hundreds of examples in India I can give you. They are actually not following what is called branding right from day one. They make the pitch deck, which is just not good. They think they have a great idea, but the pitch deck itself have got 100 different fonts and 4 different colors, and there is no alignment, and it is not a justified thing on the PPT.
Including the font.
Including the font, including the size, including the color.
Yes.
They don't care because they think what is important is idea. I graduated from IIT, I graduated from NIT, therefore this idea must pass. Yes, this idea will pass, but then with remarks. You need someone to guide you for branding from day one. As much as you need electricity and oxygen and Wi-Fi for your company to survive, mindset. You need branding from day one. Okay. There are many examples, and as you ask, what are the strategies? I'll not complicate with jargon.
Please.
I'll tell in simple language for our students of EdifyPath to understand. It's a great responsibility when you talk about branding.
Okay.
You need to be very, very consistent in what you do. Today, when you talk to me, you will understand that I am this kind of person. After 20 days, I look the same thing. After 30 days, I look the same thing. And I look the same thing for 4 other students also. For 10 other students also. Then I am called consistent. Then I am a brand.
Oh.
So your product or service or offering, if it is tasted and experienced by people 100 different times, and if it feels and tastes the same, then you are a brand. That is called consistency of a brand. I'll give you an example. You go to Nilofer Chai in Lagdi Kapul anytime. I tasted chai 100 times in the past, recently. In the last 100 times, every single time it tasted the same.
Oh.
It is a brand. Paradise Biryani, for example, if I go there and eat at Persis across MG Road, if it tastes the same thing like mutton biryani, what I tasted some 4 years back or 4 times earlier, then it is a brand.
Right.
So consistency is extremely
Mindset,
important.
okay.
Yeah. The second thing is you need to be very, very clear, and there should be no clutter in what you're communicating. A lot of people, they use whatever available space is there, they keep writing lessons.
Yes.
They keep
More
writing a
the
lot
space?
because they don't want to waste the space.
Oh,
The mentality comes from the
The
fact that I am paying for the space, so why should I not use it? But they are actually doing a disservice to the brand by writing so much. Write less, no clutter, be clear. If you are selling water, say that you are selling good water. Don't complicate it.
okay.
So that is called clarity. And the third one is, as I mentioned earlier, the credibility. Talk about those things which are believable.
Okay.
And
Where you can people
Where you can
connect.
and connect. And the fourth strategy that we use is, as the brand grows,
Okay.
you need to have something called you are communicating care. I care for people around me. I care for community. So you do a lot of philanthropic activities.
Absolutely.
That's a brand in itself. Similarly, the brand will have to go and say that I will take care of the people because they are suffering. Today there is a problem in this area, huge rain, water logging. So I go and stand and I do my little bit. You don't have to do too much. But every time there is a distress, every time there is a problem, your brand comes in and stands for them and says, this is a little bit coming from me.
Oh, that's
A
it.
lot of individuals are philanthropic, but if you can institutionalize that
And practical
and then practically do it at a regular interval, then you will stand for
continuity is
it.
there.
Why I'll tell you, it is not just to look good. It is a business imperative. Means it will work for your business if you do that. Your customers are looking at people and companies and brands
The icon.
that care for community.
Oh, yeah.
They want to see what is your stand. Are you standing against terrorism? Are you standing against climate control? Are you standing against pollution? Are you standing against women harassment?
Atrocities.
Atrocities. Are you standing against subalterns, weaker sections, impoverished people, people coming from humble backgrounds?
Absolutely.
What do you stand for? If you stand for anything, it's okay. They are with you. So it is a business imperative, not just to look good and have some popularity. It is a business imperative that you stand for something. So a brand should have a caring dimension, which is very, very important. These are the strategies broadly in simple language that we do.
It also added the self-branding to
Correct.
this.
Correct.
across
This is
by-
personal branding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Personal branding, we call it across. In fact, now I understand more importantly, a consultant on branding would actually make real good money.
Exactly.
As a consultant.
But the consultant should have great knowledge of studying marketing,
Absolutely.
and he should have the pulse on the consumer.
Yes.
Pick up the ability to identify the insights.
Yeah.
And then
So that you can
use it.
connect those dots.
You need to read a lot of data and then collect the insights and then put it back into your strategies.
Well said.
So these are the points.
Well said. Well said. So one more question to you, like, not to defame our brands, which in India, which have done very well.
Yeah.
I've been, and a lot of people, viewers should have seen how they have branded themselves well, more on the personal branding and the company products too. Can you name one good brand that in India which has actually made that story, which can impact, we can connect
Yes.
specifically to my audience, and why we are not able to reach those, the big four brands of the US companies that they do, Americans when they brand it well. What is that we're lacking? This is exactly what I really wanted to know.
See, the new age branding is something slightly different, but in India there are certain brands which are making the mark now. It is not all that bad, but slowly and steadily they are actually winning the hearts of the people. And one brand which I can take and cite to you is, I'll take one age-old brand, which is a bigger brand, and I'll take one younger brand as well.
Okay.
So the brand that I admire is the Tata brand. Tata as a group is about 153-year-old conglomerate of various businesses in this country. Their ability to brand themselves like that has come from their innate belief in what they are creating this business for, which means what is the purpose, why did they establish, why did they go and clear up those lands in Jamshedpur and created a city out of that.
Absolutely.
So it is their commitment. There is a clear purpose. Second, they cared for the community. They cared for the community. They created a township. They created an entire city. They created something called how do I take care of the babies of the people who work in our organization.
Absolutely.
They care for the community, they care for their schools, their hospitals, their health. They established everything.
Absolutely.
So the care part which I mentioned earlier is coming in their brand. So it is
created the story.
They created. So first they did something good, and then they told the world that they are doing good. So that is a very interesting way of
So
talking.
I still remember one of these advertisement, which is story. They said about they make salt. They whole advertisement from the steel
Correct.
to car
Salt.
to manufacture, and the last ad says we also make salt.
We also make salt.
Tata salt. You remember that?
Yes, I remember
It was
that.
one of the
It's a
beautiful ad.
fantastic ad. So Tata today has entered into, as you mentioned, new product categories
Okay.
to stay relevant to the current needs. From aeroplanes to salt, they did everything. They are pioneers in what they did. It's a great brand. They have created several stories. Suppose your founder or your people, your CEOs, don't go into areas where there are problems. If they don't go and attend the marriages of your colleagues, the social functions, if you don't put your arm around your own colleagues, then what stories you will build? There is no so it's the personality of the people who handle in the top positions that will percolate down to others, and then it will become an institution of a habit.
Got it.
So that's how Tata has done. That's a great example.
Okay.
And I'll take another small example. My co-alumnus from IIM Bangalore, he has created a brand called ID Fresh Foods. ID Fresh Foods is into creating household products like idli batter, dosa batter, vada batter. They have made coffee, ready-made coffee.
Absolutely.
And all these products have got one common thing, that is keeping your eyes and ears to the ground and then innovate. How I can solve problems in the kitchen, how I can make sure that eating becomes very interesting and easy.
Okay.
Without compromising on any quality.
That is
He has created those products every single day.
PC Mustafa is somebody who's talking about.
Yes, I'm paying rich tributes to my friend Mustafa. Every single day at 8 p.m. invariably I eat your chapati as much as I eat Tata Salt. So it's a great brand.
Great, that's really good. So one last question that I wanted to ask you, what are the companies in India right now, the branding companies that I keep watching, like people go there? Name few of them.
You mean branding consultants?
Branding consultants or companies who are actually doing a great job.
Exactly.
M&M, a lot of ad agencies.
Yeah, a lot of agencies.
These are ad agencies.
Yes, these are agencies.
So ad agencies are also known as a branding company?
No.
They're different.
They're very different. Okay. See, ad agencies are experts in communication.
Okay, great.
But branding is something which is understood by the company itself. Okay. So you need to carve out a department called branding separately and marketing separately.
Fantastic. So
very few companies have separated that in this country. Those who have separated have understood the value of branding, and they did. Okay. Big companies like Tata's, they have branding and communication. Companies like EQ5 have got branding and communication. In various other education institutions, I don't see any exclusive branding setup as much as EQ5 has got. But then it takes maturity. But then today's companies, they need not wait for many years to come. They can immediately have what is called branding right from day one. Okay. And then people are positioned in that department and they will take care of all these aspects. It should be owned by the company. It should not be from outside. Okay. But for certain exercises, there are consultants available, the branding consultants which are available. They sometimes double up with a role coming as an offshoot from an advertising agency, but they are not experts in branding. So you need to go
a different hat of branding hat.
Yes, I'll give the names.
Okay.
You have companies like Future Brands, which is run by Santosh Desai. They focus exclusively on brand. Then you have a company which is floated by Rama Bijapurkar. She is a faculty and on the board of governors of IIM Ahmedabad. So that's a company which you can look at. The third one, Harish Bijur Consultants. That is an exclusively focusing on branding and marketing. But for branding, you can go to Harish Bijur as consultants. And the fourth one is very important. It is called Brandcom, which is run by an alumnus of IIM Bangalore, Mr. Ramanujam Sridhar. He is an expert in all these things, but he has worked his way up from sales to advertising to PR and everything. Absolutely. He is a brand expert there. So we can go to such people and then ask for brand strategies. Don't merge marketing with branding. That's where you lose the essence. If you clearly value branding, you have to invest in branding and then go to the experts. Your brand will not will not suffer. Your brand will be taken care of. Your brand will go to greater length over a period of time. It is an intangible asset which you are building, and therefore branding is the life of business. Every brand manager who works on the brand works like a business owner himself.
Thank you so much, Sudhakar. This is very enlightening. In fact, we understood right now today.
Pleasure.
Branding and communication is very important.
Right.
I'm sure to all of people, like we pray, we wish that we'll have a Sudhakar branding soon coming out of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure talking to all of you.